Back now on our final segment of this edition of Forsyth County Connections. Thanks for hanging with us so far. We wrap up now with a special guest who's been with us before, and we like to have Michelle in once in a while talk about elections. You know, even though we don't have a presidential election every year, we have like other kinds of things. So we're going to talk about elections. Michelle Bobadilla, she's Deputy Director, Forsyth County Board of Elections. Welcome back.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
What has the Board of Elections been up to since the 2024 elections? Because people say, oh, I guess Michelle and Tim and them just take off and went to the beach.
Yeah. We've been up to so much. We have Election Academy program coming up now in June, which is a 4-week program that we open for the community.
Where do people get information about that?
fcvotes.com.
Okay.
And they can apply online, and we're collecting applications starting tomorrow.
All right.
So we have that going on. Up until last month, we have processed 5,017 new voter application for voter registration.
Okay.
And other documents that folks send into our office.
There have been changes in election laws since you and I talked last, and since just last year in many cases. Mm-hmm. What kind of changes are we talking about, and how will they impact voters?
Yeah, so we have two law changes that folks should be aware of that will impact them as voters. One is House Bill 1064, passed in 2024, which now requires municipal elections in Forsyth County to be partisan. So in the past, we only had an election in November for municipal elections, but now with this law, we most likely will potentially have a primary election.
Okay.
And if we do, it will be held in September.
All right. So if a mayor or somebody wants to run for an office, they've got to declare, you know, what party they're in, and it's a partisan thing.
Correct.
Yeah.
Candidate filing starts in July,
Right.
from the 7th through the 18th. So that's when we will know if we will have a primary election.
Now, last year was the first time people were required to have a voter ID. Have there been any changes to those requirements or exceptions?
No, requirements are still the same, and overall it went very smoothly. So everything that we had in place last year will remain for this year.
Let's talk about some ongoing work that you and Tim and your folks do, which is keeping voter rolls up to date. To me, it looks like that's a tough job, because that's where a lot of these controversies come up nationwide about, oh, I don't know if my vote was counted, or I didn't get to vote because I live in the wrong. How do you guys go about that? I mean, what's going on?
So that's a crucial task, and we perform that all year long. And we call that list maintenance. It's required by law, and that means that this process requires us to remove voters that are ineligible. So if you moved out of the county, if you passed away, or a convicted felon, this process allows us to identify who those are and remove them from the.
And I'll brag about you and your department, because you guys do a great job to keep that up. Because you hear about these things in the news in some other states. Say, oh, yeah. I heard that dead people were voting. I mean, you really work to make sure those kind of things aren't going on. Now, let me double back on this thing about elections. There are going to be multiple elections this year, right?
Correct.
When do they fall?
So if we have a primary election, which we will know after the candidate filing in July.
Right.
The primary election is September 9th.
Okay.
Depending on what happens with that election, if we have one, we could potentially have a second primary.
Okay.
And if we do have one, it will be October 7th.
All right.
And then we have the municipal general election, November 4th.
And tell me again the website where people can go to. Or
www.fcvotes.com.
Yeah, because I'll tell you about registering and all that kind of stuff. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, my pleasure.